Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline, and today's video is going to be 30 books on my physical TBR. So I honestly have a lot more than 30 books like in my room that I haven't read, but these are just the books that I'm excited to read in 2024 specifically that I want to get to like definitely this year. My goal is 50 books, so I will probably read more than these books, and I might not read all of them, but this is just the general like idea of the books that I want to read this year. So I have exactly 30 books here. Majority are romance, but I kind of like put them into different genres. So I think we'll do the romance genre at the end just because it's so many of them. Okay, so should we start with, let's start with classics. So there are two classics that I really want to read this year. And the first one is The Picture of Dorian Gray. And I have this really pretty Penguin Classics cover edition, which I really like. And honestly, I don't know much about this book, but I know it got really popular in the last couple years. And I think it's part of the like Rory Gilmore reading challenge, which is cool. So maybe I'll do a video on like reading books that Rory Gilmore would read. But I think it's basically just about this guy named Dorian Gray and his life. That's pretty much all I know about it. When I've heard it being like described, like it was kind of vague. So maybe it's good to go in with kind of not that much information. So that's what I'm going to do. The first classic I want to read. And then the second is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which I can't believe I haven't read yet. I think I've tried to read it about 3 times and I just haven't been able to get through it because I did make the mistake of watching the movie before the book. So I know like kind of what happens. One of my favorite movies is the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice, and I watch it like somewhat frequently, but I still think I need to read the book. Also, because I got this like Pride and Prejudice shirt that's really cute. I got it off of Etsy, I think, and I can't go around wearing the shirt if I haven't read the book, because that's just like, it's already crime enough that I haven't read the book. But I really want to get to this year because I think it's time. And it has like, I know it's beautiful writing, and I know Jane Austen is a wonderful writer. I just find it hard like with the old English kind of, but I think I can do it. Okay, next I have poetry books, which I think I read a lot of poetry in 2023, and I want to read more. So the first one is The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. I read a couple of her books. I read Milk and Honey, and then I read Homebody, and I really liked them both. And it's just like quick, easy poems to read like before bed. And then if you saw my like book buying video, I bought this book, and it is Upstream by Mary Oliver. She's a really, really famous poet, and I think she's pretty old now. I don't know when this was written. Let's see. Oh, 2016. Okay. So I guess she's written some recent books. But I kept getting her poems like on Pinterest and on the internet. I just kept seeing them, and I love her poems specifically. I think it's called I Worried. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it's along the lines of I Worried. I really like that one. And so I wanted to get one of the books, and this one was my favorite. Like, I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but this one is so pretty, like with the trees. Okay, next we kind of have like a miscellaneous section. These were books that I didn't really know where to put them, so I kind of just grouped them together. Starting with I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. This is a YA novel. It sounds really interesting. I'm reading it for a book club, so that's where I heard of it. But it's basically about, I think they're twins. Yeah, Jude and Noah. And they're twins, and they were like inseparable. They were best of friends, and something happened to make them not best friends. And so it sounds like it's not really dual POV. Well, I guess it is. It sounds like the first half of the story is Noah, and then the second half is Jude. And so it's kind of about like, I guess you're kind of discovering like what happened to their relationship to make them like, to make it fall apart. So it sounds really interesting, and I think it won a ton of awards. Because I've definitely seen this cover around a lot. So I'm excited for this. Okay, the next one, I'm kind of ashamed to be holding this in this video because this book got popular in like 2020, and I've had it on my shelf probably since 2020, and I still have not read it. but it is The Song of Achilles. I'm going to get to it this year. It's gonna happen. I think I'm just very intimidated because half the people I talk to who have read this book are like, oh my gosh, best book ever, so sweet, so many things to highlight, obsessed. And then the other half are like, there was a lot of mythology, kind of confusing, not the best. And so I think it's like that like heavy mythology thing that people keep saying that's really like scaring me, and is why I'll go to pick up the book and then I'll be like, maybe not. Because basically it is, I guess, like a Greek mythology retelling. I know it's a romance, and I think it's set during the summer, and it's also supposedly heartbreaking, so maybe I'll cry. Maybe I could do like a reading sad books for a week video. You'll see me cry reading The Song of Achilles. But I do think I need to form my own opinion. I need to read it, and even if it is heavy on the Greek mythology, then at least I'll learn about Greek mythology. And apparently it has like a lot of really like quotable, highlightable, is that a word? Things, which I've recently been loving, like highlighting and underlining in my books. So maybe this summer. I think I want to read it in the summer because I've heard it's set in the summer. So next is The Alchemist, which I actually don't know anything about. When I originally put it on my TBR, I thought it was a self-help book because I kept seeing it in all these book talk videos of like books that changed my life, you know, and usually when I think of like books that change your life, I think of self-help books. I don't know why. But it's a novel, and there's nothing. Oh wait, here, I'll read this. I'll read the inside flap. Okay, so it sounds like it's about a journey. It is about a shepherd boy named Santiago who travels from Spain to the Egyptian desert in search of a treasure buried near the pyramids. And he meets all these people along his way who guide him in the right direction, I guess. And so it's basically a story about his journey getting to the treasure. I think it's about like perseverance and following your heart. And next, I'm actually really excited about this book, and I almost picked it up in January, but I was like, no, it's gonna be so much better if you read it in the summer. Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is basically about a bunch of like rich siblings. Okay, basically they always have this end of summer party that's like a really big deal, and I think they live in like old Hollywood, and they're all rich, and all the kids are super successful, and it's kind of just about their lives. I think it's different point of views, but maybe not. But you're basically just following all these rich people's lives, which honestly, that alone is interesting and fascinating to me. But also, I just love Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I have read Daisy Jones and the Six, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Is that it? I feel like I read another one. I don't know, but I really liked them, and I'm really excited for this one. Also, just because I love that aesthetic of like old money. I think one of them's a surfer, so it's set in the summer, and I'm really excited for that. Last, in like the miscellaneous section, I have Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. This is supposed to be a really like sad, heartbreaking, but also heartwarming story. I think it's YA, and I think it's kind of a romance. It's got a ton of awards, and multiple people have recommended it to me. And it's basically about Dante and Ari, and it sounds like they're like very opposites. And so it says their friendship, but I really thought that they had a romance. Maybe that's a spoiler. I don't know. Okay, now we're on to mysteries. In like 7th and 8th grade, I would only read mysteries, and now I only read romance. So I kind of shifted my main genre that I read. So I definitely read less romance. No, I definitely read less mysteries than I did, but I still like one every once in a while. So I only have 3 on my Physical TBR right now. Well, on my 2024 Physical TBR. The first one being, also I kind of grouped like mysteries and thrillers together. So some of these may be thrillers, and I just like kind of grouped them together. But the first one being Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Lisa Jewell is such a popular author. She also, I think, just came out with, I say just, it was probably in the last 6 months to a year, None of This Is True, I think that's what it's called. But I've seen a ton of people read this. Apparently it's really spooky. I should probably look up the trigger warnings because I've heard her writing can get really dark. Sorry, that's my chair. But it sounds really good. I keep trying to find like Like I love that feeling where you're like so spooked out during a thriller and then like the plot twist like gets you, and I feel like I haven't had that feeling in a really long time and I've been searching for it, and so I think this one might be the one. And next is One of Us Is Back by Karen M. McManus, which my friend actually got this for me for my birthday, so shout out to her. But I've read One of Us Is Lying, and then the next one is One of Us Is Next, and then this is the third one, which I really hope you don't have, like I read the last two I think in 7th grade. So I really hope that you don't have to remember those because it's been a while. I don't even know who it follows. I just saw it came out and my friend got it for me, and I need to continue the series. The last mystery / thriller is Verity by Colleen Hoover. I am so excited. I've been wanting to read this since 7th grade, and I got it for my birthday. And I got the one with the exclusive new chapter, which I'm very excited because I've heard, like I kept seeing all these TikToks of people going to Barnes & Noble and sitting down and just reading the extra chapter because they needed to know. So I'm very excited. I think this one will definitely spook me. And I'm just so excited to know what everyone's talking about because everyone's like I hear everyone talking about it and they're all like, oh, I'm team manuscript. And I have no idea what that means, but I want to know what that means. I want to see if I'm team manuscript. Okay, now we're on to fantasy, which at the end of 2023, I kind of got into fantasy a little bit. I read Fourth Wing, I read The Thief, and I'm just wanting to get into it more. So speaking of Fourth Wing, the first fantasy book on my 2024 TBR is Iron Flame, and I got the one with the black pages, which I love so much. The plot twist at the end of Fourth Wing, like I need to see how that plays out, and I'm excited for, no spoilers, but I'm excited for some new characters in this one. Next on my fantasy TBR is Trial of the Sun Queen, which I can't remember who I saw, but I saw someone, like one of the booktubers, buy this, and I hadn't heard of it, but I got it for, like, it was part of my advent calendar for Christmas, or for December, and it's basically about this girl, I think her name is Lore, and I don't entirely understand like the summary. It's like I find it a little bit confusing, but basically it's kind of sounds, there's like a deadly contest to win the king and to be the king's wife, so it kind of sounds like The Selection in that way, if you've read that dystopian series. But it sounds really good. I love that plot line. I loved The Selection. And this one, I think it's kind of like enemies to lovers, which I'm really excited about. So it's a romance fantasy. Next is The Kiss of Deception, which I honestly haven't heard much about. Okay, I just read the back and this sounds so good. So it's basically about Princess Leia, and she's the daughter of like a king, I think. Basically, she has to marry someone she's never met because she's the princess. And so on her wedding day, she leaves in the morning, she runs away, and she goes to this small town, and she's living her small town life. And then 2 handsome strangers come, and one is the prince, I guess, or maybe king, who is going to marry her, and then the other is an assassin trying to kill her. So it kind of sounds like love triangle, maybe, or, well, maybe not love triangle because they're an assassin, but honestly with these fantasy books you never know. So it sounds really good. I really like that plot line. Okay, last but definitely not least for the fantasy genre, I am so excited. This is definitely in my top 5 most anticipated reads of 2024, and it is A Court of Thorns and Roses. I am so excited. I actually haven't read the back yet. I just like it, the book and the cover speaks for itself. I didn't feel the need to even read the back, but I'm really excited to discover like these characters and to see what the hype is about. Like, what's it about? I need to know. Okay. The time has come that we are now starting the romance pile. Okay. We're gonna start with Don't Want You Like a Best Friend by Emma R. Albin. I'm so excited about this one. It just came out actually like January 6th. And it is a queer romance between 2 girls. It's set in 1857, and so it's kind of like Bridgerton era, I think, but they're both on the hunt for husbands, and while they're on the hunt for husbands, it seems like they fall in love. And then there's also this added element of kind of like Parent Trap, because they're trying to set their parents up, which I think is really cute. And I just love books set during this time period. I read the first Bridgerton book last summer, and I loved it. I loved like the description of the dresses and the balls and the way they talk, and I'm really excited to read this book. And look how cute the cover is. They're so pretty. Okay, next we have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This is basically about BJ and Magnolia, which Magnolia, she is like this beautiful, self-involved London socialite, and then BJ is Britain's most notorious bad boy, who broke her heart. And it seems like they have like kind of a really toxic relationship. Like, she's dating people behind his back, he's sleeping with people behind her back. Like, they're trying to get back at each other, but at the end of the day they always like end up with each other. Okay, next is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the third book in the Knockmount series. Yeah, and this one is between Lucian and Sloane, which I am so excited about because they were like my favorite couple even from book one. I was just so excited to read about them, and so they finally got their book, and I think it came out. Did it come out this summer? I don't know when it came out, but it came out in the last like 6 months to a year. And I was on my book buying ban, so I couldn't get it, but my brother got it for me. Thank you. And I'm really, really excited. Okay, next is When You Are Mine by Kennedy Ryan. Kennedy Ryan is one of the most popular romance authors. She wrote Before I Let Go. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's really popular. And I got this in my advent calendar. And it's basically about Karis and Walsh, who Karis is in an engagement. She's engaged. And she meets him on the 4th of July, and they just spark a connection. But neither of them can do anything about it because she's engaged, and then she's engaged to his best friend. So I guess it's, what trope would that be? Like, fiance's best friend. But it sounds really good. Next is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, which I read. They're interconnected standalones, but I read the first one, which is It Happened One Summer, which is between Piper and Brendan. And this one is about Piper's sister, what's her name? Hannah. And then it's about Brendan's best friend, Fox, which Fox is like the player, and they live in this small town in Washington, I think. Yeah, I think it's this small town in Washington. And Fox is like this king crab fisherman, who's a player, and Hannah loves music. I think she works at like the music shop. And yeah, it just sounds really cute. I will probably honestly like the first one better, which I shouldn't go into this book with that mindset, but I loved the first one so much, and I just loved the characters, and like Brendan was just like the sweetest guy ever. Hopefully I like this one just as much or better. Next is Kisses and Croissants, which is a quick little YA romance novel. It is about Mia, and she's always wanted to be a professional ballerina. So she goes to Paris to pursue her dream, but it's not really what she expected. And she's having some trouble, I think. And so then she meets Louis. Oh, it sounds like a cute little international romance. I love romances set in like European countries. I think they're so cute. And this reminds me, I read Anna and the French Kiss, which is a really, really cute book set in Paris that I think I gave 5 stars. I really liked it. And so I'm hoping that this kind of gives similar vibes. Next is The Odds of Loving Grover Cleveland by Rebecca Crane. It's about these 2 kids who meet at a summer camp for at-risk teens, and it sounds like they kind of help each other through some of their issues, and have a really cute romance. I'm really excited for this one because it sounds like Starry Eyes, which is one of my favorite books. I really liked that book, and that one is set like in like they're camping, and so this one's also they're camping, which I love, like romances set in the woods where they're camping. I just think that's cute. I'm gonna try to go through the last ones. I'm gonna try to go through them faster because I don't want this video to be 40 minutes and I've already talked a lot. Next is Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. She wrote The Love Hypothesis, and this one kind of has a similar plot line in the sense that I think they're both in the science field. The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I really want to read this in October because it is about a ghost, and it's also a romance, and so it's kind of like fun, funny, mystery romance kind of vibes. Next is Roomies by Christina Lauren. This is, I think, it might not be the one bed trope, but it's like forced proximity trope. And I keep wanting to give Christina Lauren another shot because none of her books have really like done it for me, but I want to keep trying because she might have a book out there that's, you know, gonna be my favorite book ever. Or they, because I guess it's two authors. Next is Love Redesigned, which I'm so excited about. I've never read a Lauren Asher book before, but she's like the queen of romance books, and I've heard really good things about this one. And it came out recently. I think it came out in November, December. From Blue Cove with Love by Mariana Zapata. This is a slow burn hockey romance. Really excited. I've been wanting to read a Mariana Zapata book for a while now. Okay, and the last two books are by Abby Jimenez, who she gained like so much popularity over the last year in 2023, and I really want to read her books and experience her books. I've heard they're like deeper than most romance books. So I have The Friend Zone and Part of Your World. Okay, those are all the books. Well, there are 30 books that are on my physical TBR for 2024. I really hope I get to them, and I really just need to remind myself to focus on the books that I already have instead of, you know, new books coming out that I want to buy, or I get distracted and get them on my phone or listen to them on Audible, whatever. I need to focus on my physical TBR. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope y'all enjoyed it. Comment down below books on y'all's 2024 TBR. Or if you've read any of these, let me know how they are. I will see y'all next time. Bye.